What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am BDLM, coming with my buddy J4Y, bringing you episode number 101 of the Dota on Demand podcast. Triple digits, old news. What's going on, man?
How you doing, bud? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Got another one coming up here under your belt. We are going to be kind of spiraling off the Techies discussion of last week. Should be pretty interesting, and then having theoretically a special guest, assuming he makes it from his girlfriend's house this evening. He better understand the importance of all the viewers wanting him on this show. So, he's just got to tell her, hey, my fans are waiting for me. I gotta make my guest appearance.
I mean, priorities. It goes video games, girlfriends. That's why I'm still single. Maybe. But you can't mess with the order. I didn't make the rules. I just play by them. There's nothing you can really do about that. But yeah, like you said, we're going to be finishing up a little bit of a discussion on Techies. He's been out for a week now, and hopefully we've all been having lots of fun with him. I know that our buddy Striker OD has started off his 100-game streak, and I have a little mini anecdote based on some of those shenanigans. And then also going to be talking to Genobeam, mostly about the Join Dota League that he's actually been playing in with some of our friends, as well as talking a little bit about the C9 versus the EG finals for WEC. A best of threes, because
China's great.
They just need 1,000 hours of Dota. But, I guess I can't complain, right? But a little excessive. But
oh no, we can complain. I will be. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. All right. But first of all, we had a lot of fun yesterday after the show. If you guys tuned in last week, episode 100, we were super excited about it. We had both Magic Man on the show as well as Striker OD. After that, we actually hung out for a while, and we played what we have now dubbed Sham, some same hero all middle. Got to play a couple of those games. We did some clinks. The deal was, for all of you who aren't in
ShamWow.
Yeah. J4Y would random a hero, and then we would all pick that hero. We'd all be middle lane, duking it out. We did some Clinks and some Pudge. I would say that the Clinks game was absolutely hysterical. I don't know what your thoughts on all this was. And then we played Pudge for some, not really Pudge wars, but just like some Pudge in the middle lane and hooks galore. But it was still pretty enjoyable too. What did you?
We didn't have enough auto attack build Pudges, I think, that game, unfortunately. That was the shame of it. I went Blink Dagger and realized it wasn't that important because no matter where I threw my hook, I pretty much always hit something.
It missed? Oh.
Wow. Sorry I crushed that game, so you're still probably a little tender after that, but what can you do? But no, I actually, the Clinks game was it was kind of like the ultimate typical experience of a middle lane, because typically how middle lanes work is if you are the first one to do the harassment, you get punished by creep attack as well as the other player getting free hits on you. So that's kind of how that Clinks game felt, just amplified, because if you went to shoot the opponent, one of the other Clinks, you got 5 arrows coming back at you the other direction. And it hurt like a bitch. So, and obviously, it was like also a sentry battle because you had to have dominance on the ability to, go invisible. So it was very interesting. I did enjoy both games very much so. And it was great, like you said, to have the viewers come out and play with us. So, we always enjoy that. We had a couple more people join the Dota On Demand Guild in Dota 2, which Ollie was kind enough to remind the world about. So once again, if you would ever... you should join us. It's free. All you gotta do...
We don't charge yet.
We don't charge yet. All you gotta do is just get in the DoD chat or add either of us on Steam, and we'll get you in the guild. You can play with other viewers. We can do in-houses if we get enough people. A lot of good stuff there, so yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah, I have to say that I did manage to one-up Isama in the Clinks games by inventing the Rush Rod of Atos, which, don't worry, I'll explain. Turns out when everybody's buying sentries, people start to not care anymore that they're sentries. So they'll be like, oh, I'm getting hit here, but I still want to go trade some auto attacks and I'll go back. Well, guess what? You walk into sentry range, you get Rod of Atos. You're not having a good day anymore. It was awesome. Yule Scepter in the Pudge game. Clutch buy. I'm just saying, BLM's got that.
Can you explain for me? Let's go back.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain why you want 2 wizard staffs and a Vit booster on Clinks?
Because you're just sitting in the middle lane all game and dunking. For those of you who don't know, we stole the ARAM rule of you can't go back to base to heal. You can use a courier to bring yourself stuff, but you can't really like go back and regenerate. You kind of just have to sit there and duke it out. So yeah, I guess I could have gone a health regen item, but you figure you're sitting there shooting the arrows all middle lane. Eventually, you actually do start to run into mana problems, but it doesn't really matter because you're supplying that slow. You get the kills.
I did get the Isama Soul Ring on Clinks. I think that's just a beautiful idea. Good concept.
Mm.
That's your health, mana regen, and get
killing yourself. Perfect.
Get to use your ult whenever you want to. That's the whole purpose. So
suicidal tendencies.
Yep, that's the definition of Clinks. Almost. I didn't get the Blink Dagger though, so I guess you can't completely copy him. But
I'm just glad that I continue to affirm that I will not do a standard build when we do these sham games. As my last one was Pugna with Daedalus and Maelstrom. We won.
When you're against all the other Pugnas in the world, I think that's just a genuine build. Like I said, I wanted to see the auto attack Pudge come out. So, what was your plan for the Pudge?
Yule Scepter.
Oh yeah, you did get the Yule Scepter off.
It was because one person would basically get hooked and then just dismembered and die and rotted to death, and there was really nothing you could do.
No.
This way, if one person caught him, you could Yule's up the person that threw the hook and give everybody some time to get away, or you could Yule's up the person that is getting dismembered, and then everybody's standing there, they're just waiting for the hook, they're begging for him. And so it wasn't the best in practice. We were a little bit behind at that point, and Flesh Heap is a little dumb. But it was still...
one of our viewers, Eric, on my team, got the arcane boots into mech, into pipe. So the all full support, Pudge. Had to have one... She apparently just plays support regardless of any possible hero she's on or matchup. It doesn't matter. She is all about supporting, so, always good to have those people on board. But, they were a lot of fun. Glad everyone could join us. We played some other games that were non-Dota related, unfortunately. Taboo, I know, but we still had fun with everyone that tuned in, so who knows, maybe we'll get other streams going on other nights if people are interested in that kind of thing. Could play the most ridiculous games if we wanted to,
Speaking of which, over the weekend, if you got to tune in, me and Jay had a LAN party because, I don't know, we hate the sun, socializing, friends.
No, you know what? It was a sign from the above, I think, for us to do that, because the one time we went out on the weekend, on Saturday night, the heavens opened up and a huge hurricane almost came out. We went to get Five Guys burgers, which if you don't know what those are, good for you. Good for you. But they are pretty much some of the most fattening burgers you can get. Very greasy. Bag of fries. You have to. They don't even probably let you walk out of there without the bag of fries, to be honest. You kind of just have to. And, so we got there, and like I said, it was a torrential downpour, so we're like, you know what? Should have stayed in. Just should have stayed in the whole time.
I am an asthmatic. I'm actually literally, this is a real thing. I'm skin sensitive to water, which I was lucky enough to outgrow because it sucks. Right? Me and outside don't get along in the first place, but then, like you said, this just reaffirmed it. Just stay inside next time, play video games. My arm was on fire for the next 3 days because I was trying to give myself carpal tunnel syndrome.
We got sports injuries. It was bad.
Yes, sports injuries. Now we know fear's pain, and
I think I was telling you I had tennis elbow. That's what it felt like. I have no idea what the hell tennis elbow is, but my elbow hurt from playing video games. So I was like, well, that must be what it is.
Tennis elbow.
I understand. Serena Williams is paid. I don't know any tennis players. That was the only one. Oh, Venus. There you go. I don't know any guys. Can you name one guy? Come on, there has to be. It's
Federer.
Easy. Federer. Don't know his first name, but yeah, Federer.
Not important.
Wilson? Oh no, that's a brand of tennis ball. All right, well.
We started so strong with tennis. We got 3 people deep, and then we ran out. We just started.
Let's move on to Dota, shall we?
Torch, is that a player name? I
hate you.
Anyway, so we had a LAN party. We streamed it out. It was a lot of fun. Friday, we got to play some games with some viewers again, some real legit games. That was awesome. Until I played Faceless Void. We also just hung out and played some other games the following day. Hope you guys got to tune in for that. It was a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed it, maybe we'll do it again. And I guess last but not least, for I guess getting introduced to the episode, thank you guys so much because we, I guess for our 100th birthday, got some donations through PayPal. If anybody else is interested in doing so, you can find a link through our website, DotaOnDemand.com. But thank you so much. We've already started scheming what to do to help improve the quality of the show, to bring you guys additional content with that. So we are just so thankful, and really just appreciate the support so much. Enough can't be said for all you lovely people out there who help motivate us to keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it all there. So yeah, we always striven.
We have striven.
We have striven.
That's probably a word.
Anyways, we've always wanted to improve the show, and we always strive to do the best we can, and over time improve our quality to be. Obviously, we'll never be professional, but as close to it as we can while still having fun with the show, of course. And like you said, all these things just continue to really help us drive and focus on our goals and ambitions. So we really do love you guys, and we always support you. So as one comment on YouTube, one of the recent YouTube videos said, J4Y is the biggest fanboy, and I truly am. I'm a huge fanboy of all of you guys. So really props to you all for showing up and listening every week.
Another comment also was disappointment that I wasn't on a raft out in the middle of the ocean. Well, guess what? If you keep donating to the show, I'll fly out to the other side of the world, buy a raft, and just paddle out there. And it'll be great.
This is what I'm imagining on the screen, like a thing flashed like, warning, BDO will actually not go to the other side of the world.
Hi. Yeah, so again, thank you guys so much, and happy to have made it into the triple digits.
Yes.
Time to start planning for episode 200.
Mm-hmm. Did we already book Shiver for that? I thought we already said that was booked up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have all of the guests. So I guess on to a not a closing thoughts on Techies, because Joe Striker OD is going to be stopping in as he works his way through the 100 games of Techies. And you guys can shoot your messages, leave your comments on the Dota On Demand Facebook, and he does see those. Show your support or your hatred for perpetuating Techies in real games. But so far, I have to say, I have to share with you my favorite game anecdote from Striker OD. He shoots me a message while I'm working. He's like, dude, I just had the sickest game of Techies ever. It went 70 minutes. We pulled out a win. It's awesome. As soon as you get home, I'm gonna shoot you the link to the DOTA, or not the DOTA, the what am I thinking
Dota
of?
buff.
Dota buff. All right, cool. So I get home and he's like, "Oh yeah, here it is, dude. It was so good. It was like we were losing at first and we were on the back foot, and then and he's like, holy crap, are you serious?" So he looks at his Dota buff and forgets that the game had actually been recorded for him as a loss because he didn't get experience for 5 minutes, gotten abandoned because he was running around laying mines, and didn't actually get the win, despite the fact that his team did, in fact, win. So he isn't counting that one, apparently. He will be playing 101 games of Techies to...
hence the episode number.
Yeah. In order to make up for this. But...
I just face-palmed in real life. Like, I just put my hand in my face and shook. I never thought about that. Like, legitimately. Just a Techies doing his thing, mining up the base, mining up camps and side paths. There is so much potential to not get experience for 5 minutes. That is... I wonder if other people are going to start complaining about that.
I feel like... I don't know, man. I mean, 5 minutes is a while. I feel like even if you do have a cooldown on your mines. You're strapped for mana, so I totally get that you wouldn't want to have to like stop in the middle of doing what you're actually doing to like clear a camp with your mines or what have you. But 5 minutes is a while. You figure even in a long game, I didn't go back and watch it, but I almost kind of do just want to see like what transpired in this 5 minutes.
Yeah, really. Like,
I
what
guess
was he mining exactly? I mean, you do have
every
20 to go through, so it could be a lot. And then also the remotes and stasis traps. So yeah, it's a lot to put down. Oh, that sucks. And then the win that doesn't count on top of it. Oh, that's even worse. You feel like you helped so much and just don't get rewarded justly for it. What a
he
shame.
he is at a 50-50 win rate so far, so he's
That's better than the average by a lot. So
yeah. So I guess how have you sort of enjoyed, disliked? What are your feelings on the Techies so far, Jay? Has he ruined your life completely yet, or have you been okay with it so far?
I've never wanted to play captain's mode so much in my life
Okay.
as I do in this current state of the game. It's not even that I'm like so against the hero, and I definitely don't think he's OP. Far from it. I think he's a very balanced hero. In fact, I just personally think the hero is weak. I really do, and I'm glad Joe's not on here to just berate me right now. He had his time to talk,
He's writing you a letter right now.
it's a stern letter. It's a very stern letter. Sending it to my boss probably. But yeah, I don't know. It's obviously from my lack of seeing. I mean, I have watched Wagamama. He's a very popular streamer, ex-pro player. Actually, I think he's getting back in the scene, but that's a little off topic. He was streaming 24 hours of Techies at one point. In matched or ranked matchmaking, and so that's really high level because he's 6.6k, so very high level Techies play, and that kind of made me feel better about the hero because I got to see someone with some real skill and knowledge like actually take it. And unfortunately, I haven't played with Joe in a real game, so I'm sure he's got plenty of it too. I will be doing. I mean, he's gonna play 101. How could I not play at least one game with that guy? So. That would be pretty bad.
2 games.
2 games. Tiny will be one, so we'll lose. I'll be Tiny in one, so we'll lose. And then, I don't know. Maybe I'll be Sniper in the other. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But I personally, I just feel like, at least where we at in the game, I feel like he just doesn't seem to contribute that much to a lineup. I just feel like other heroes in that position bring more to the table. So that's kind of just been my overall observation of the hero. I've only seen him in a few positions though. I guess I haven't seen the mid Techies. I haven't seen safe lane Techies. Safe lane meaning core safe lane. I've seen like a roaming one, and I've seen off lane, and then I've seen off lane duo. Those are kind of like the 3 I've seen so far. And from what I gather from them, he can get some surprise kills, sure. But besides that, defending the bases seems to have been the only thing he's done well so far for me. So that's my interpretation. Now, what have you observed? I mean, how many games have you played with him so far?
Just a handful. Been on both sides of the board, with and against him. I will say that my answer to Techies is Rubik.
Really?
All the time.
I would have never guessed you'd be saying that like all last episode.
I did say it a lot, but it's just so true. And the best part is that was just sort of like a random passing thought, and then I was really just kept thinking about it. I'm like, oh my god, why would you not pick Rubik? My first game against a bad Techies, and I'm gonna say bad, in that he was low level because he was just running around placing troll mines. He was warding up our jungle. We were Radiant, and so because of warding, the bottom rune spot saw him moving. I actually wound up buying a soul ring and tranquil boots on Rubik so that when I stole mines, I could just ward up, use them to push. Because of just dropping them on the tower and them doing just so much damage to buildings. No matter what you steal, you're pretty much going to get something that you can really take advantage of on the Rubik, because you figure even if you get like a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff on him as well, if you get Suicide Squad attack, you're still able to just get in there. And
if you get Suicide Squad attack, Techies is a really bad player. That would mean he would have to go all the way back to being visible without casting any spells.
Yeah.
Which I guess some players don't think about, to be fair. Like, especially if you're new to the hero, you don't even think about it. Which, okay, maybe I get it. but it's almost like I can't remember what pro game it was, but it was like a Tidehunter that Ravaged, died, came all the way back to middle, and hadn't used another spell, and got Ravaged stolen because of that. It was like, what were you thinking, man? Like, Anchor Smash, something, come on. So that's just kind of what that reminds me of. And Joe brought that up to me because, I was like, oh, cool. Wouldn't that be so nice to steal Suicide Squad attack? Like, that'd be such a surprise. But he's like, how could that happen when, like, they have to not cast anything before you see them again? I'm like, that's a good point.
Yeah. The game that one of the games was actually playing with Joe and the Techies, Rubik, as it turns out. It was actually really nice because I would lift people up and he's like, just drop them right where they are, and then I would, and then they would activate a stasis trap and be like,
my trap card's been activated.
There was definitely, I have to say too, I guess the overarching thing that I'd like saying, like comparing him to other heroes, is it's just so incredibly hard because it's just like, the way I was actually hearing some of the casters talk about Crystal Maiden's arcane aura, and I believe it was the Cloud9 and the EG series that Beyond the Sun was casting. So like it's a really hard thing to just sort of assess the value of because it allows you to get more spell casts. You have more to work with. What you're able to do with that is sort of not easily defined. And I guess Techies is sort of the same way because there was definitely, they had to run around. They bought gems. They had to deward. So like we mentioned the last week's episode, we knew where at least 2 or 3 of them were as they were trying to run around and clear the mines without taking too much damage. Had some times on Techies or on Rubik where I'm like, I really want to place a ward like just up the stairs going into the dire jungle coming from the middle lane. I don't know where any of them are, but I'm going to YOLO Swagger and pray for the fear factor of Techies, and I'm just going to run up there real quick and place it. Could get away with stuff like that. And this actually happened to also be a 70-minute long game with Techies. I don't know if that's a trend. Wound up being up against the Medusa, but it wasn't just because of the Techies, but we were able to clear some buildings quickly when we had to, even after she had picked up a Divine Rapier or 2. Somehow able to get a victory. Did have some moments where the mines were great defensive measures, and even a Bloodstone on almost no charges still seemed to be able to do a lot to get Techies back in the game towards the end.
I don't like Bloodstone at all in the hero. The reason being, first of all, Suicide Squad. I just feel like that already is kind of taken away. Just because you're almost kind of planning on using it in a way. Like if you get caught, that's going to be the way you die. And it can also be a way to finish off kills. He's very squishy. You don't build health on the hero generally. So typically, I just feel like he's vulnerable to death, but he's usually okay with it because of the way his kit is. Like he's like, you know what? You got me. All right, that's fine. I'll be back though, and my mines are still there all over the map, so you got to deal with those. Like I definitely understand where people are coming from with Bloodstone. Right? I mean, tons of mana regen sounds amazing on a hero that is very expensive and mana intensive. Like I get that, but I just feel like these other mana regen items just seem more practical because they're not dependent on you getting kills, assists, and not dying. So that's the only thing I'm coming with on that. Is I don't think I would ever build it on them purely for that reason. But maybe that's just a personal opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I can totally see the argument for and against.
Yeah.
Like in that game, I think he was down to 0 charges at one point just because of the way that the game was going, mostly. But if that is something that where you're able to get charges up, then you're just able to run around quite freely, and it's not a big deal that your spells cost a bajillion mana. I know when Wago was playing, he was actually going for like arcane boots and stuff, and doing a lot of dropping items, popping the arcane boots, picking them back up in order to try to maintain the highest possible mana pool to keep allowing him to cast spells. Yeah, so I don't hate him yet. I am definitely going to pick Rubik. I'm going to say 90% of the games with or against him because, one, I just have fun playing Rubik, and two, because I feel like he is just a swell guy to pair with or to take
And then,
against.
like, I mean, then not only that, he's just a good hero in general. So it's just like icing on the cake. Like these other heroes, it's not like a bad thing to steal their spells either. So yeah, he's just going to be an effective hero in that matchup. What I was thinking of, another counter that I wasn't thinking of before, totally Nature's Prophet. You just summon the treants and make them go look for mines and stasis traps. I think that's awesome, and I didn't even consider it before. I mean, yeah, they can only take like maybe 1 or 2 hits, but they only feed 15, 20 gold each. It's not a big amount, and it'll protect your team. I mean, it's not going to work for every opportunity, of course, but especially in the mid game where you're like afraid to go exploring in the jungle and doing other things. Obviously, remotes is the one thing it will not help you against. But as far as regular mines and stasis, I think it's actually a pretty sweet deal, and that can kind of work for any hero that summons minions of some kind. You know, I feel like I would rather have the treants over like Eidolons or something. But either way, you know, Nature's Prophet, of course, a very popular hero. He always has been, let's be honest. So, you know, I think we could see that coming out against this hero if he ever did make it competitively anyways.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely think that I sort of like the way that the hero progresses through the game and just how, you know, like I feel like landmines are really great early on when people don't have the vision or they might not have the resources to be able to do things like send treants all over the map. And then sort of as you get to the middle game, your remote mines are a lot more impactful and you can sort of set traps up and then play off of how team fights wind up working out to get people to be in positions to be killed by them. And then in the later part of the game, when you finally get that Aghanim Scepter up, you can be dropping your spells in-game, dropping your mines, throwing remotes in from further away. So I do kind of like the way that that hero has that sort of arc throughout the game. It's pretty good.
He just annoys me personally. Like,
yeah, he's annoying.
It's annoying, and it's also annoying to be on his team. Like I don't like that style of play. That's all. I think it's just, it doesn't mesh with what I like to do in games. You know, I feel like if you're going a heavy push, he can be there, but he doesn't do a lot. He does some, but like unless you have the setup for him, he's not going to make a big play, in my opinion. You know, like you kind of almost need a wombo combo for him to be in a big team fight help. Now, if you're getting like defensively, he's huge. Like I'll give him that credit. But if you're trying to be on the offensive, which I always like to be, then I don't really like him as much for that. That's all. So
I guess I'd agree for like ganking and stuff, but I think like just the amount of damage that mines do to towers is like.
I think I'm just talking about like death balling in general. Like I get it for the tower, but like if you're like, let's say, trying to push into a tier 3, and you're trying to go up to place a mine, pretty sure you'll get caught and die. Like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You can also mine up like where your team is sitting, like right to set up for the engagement, so that if they try to come out on you, you retreat and then. So it's
weird.
I don't know.
It could totally pay off, or it could totally suck. Like he's kind of like one or the other. He's not usually very middle of the road in that case.
Yeah, and it's so hard again just to compare him in general to like the Crystal Maiden aura. Like you can sort of see like the overarching strategy, how he can contribute areas where it could make a huge impact, but other times I could understand it being hard to justify him versus other heroes just because he doesn't have that run-in single target stun or, you know, an AoE slow or something like that. It's all of it is sort of very wonkily built to be a really unique hero, which is I think part of the fun.
Oh, he's definitely unique. You can't take that away from him. There is literally no hero in the game that's anything like him. So I couldn't agree much more on that front. Is Brett actually ready?
I believe
he's
our buddy
responding to me. Oh, he just did. Okay. Huzzah.
Well, yeah, so if you guys don't know who Genobeam is, he's sort of been our man in the shadows. We've kind of wanted to get him in and involved on the show in different ways. Finally, we get to have him join the show to talk about the Join Dota League and his experiences there. His team actually just finished in first place for Division 3. And also... maybe he'll get to tell us a little bit about his thoughts on the International 4 just real quick. A while ago, yes, but he did get to be my handler for that event and make sure to get in too much trouble. So without much further ado, hopefully he answers the call. But I'm actually really excited to talk to him about this because I just think it's really neat seeing, I guess, the intermediary between like semi-pro Dota and your pubs, and like seeing how you would get to deal with different drafts, different lineups, because you have, if you have a team like Cloud9 where you get to see them, you get to watch their games all the time, and you have Drow Visage Strat, at least you see it and you know that's coming. But really, instead of playing in that league, you have something that's like could completely catch you off guard because you might not ever see teams do it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree. Hopefully he makes his way in here in a second. He has been added. I don't think channeling the Batman theme song will get us any quicker.
But what do you think about just those types of leagues and stuff? I mean,
well, I was a member of the team for a while. Baltimore Zen, or Be More Zen, excuse me, the official team name. I played with them in the first season that we joined up. Now, granted, I didn't play a lot. I only played maybe 3 or 4 games at the most. I say games, I mean best of 2 series, I believe it was. And it really did take it to a new element. It was kind of like when, and this was a long time ago, when like our group of 5 friends started playing Captain's Mode together, just to see what it was like. We kind of put on like this whole other like try-hard shirt, you know what I mean? Like it was like a whole different persona that we were just in. You know, we weren't like bickering, we weren't like yelling at each other or making fun. Like it was almost just like we were a unit. We were a cohesive unit. Like we just wanted to win. Like when you do all pick, it's just kind of like, oh, you randomed Bloodseeker. Okay, guess that's gonna be that kind of game. And like, you know, the game just kind of does whatever. But with the Captain's Mode, it's just like it's a whole new element, and I loved it for that reason. It also felt good, like when we like took it to our opponents and really beat them, because it's like, okay, I always thought we weren't that great at the game, but apparently we're at least better than maybe the average or some other teams. So that kind of made me feel good and inspired as well. So it's a really good experience all around.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's like one thing that I was always sort of like freaked out about, because he asked me to like sub in for a couple games, and I was like, I always feel really weird about it, because it's like I don't get to play as much as I want to. Like I'd want to like practice a bunch. I'd feel like I'd let people down because I don't play as much as I'd want to, or we'd wind up drafting a hero that might be great for the situation, but I might not be practiced up on him. But the games I did wind up playing were actually really cool, because it was I guess I just sort of did appreciate how many people there were out there that were just like fine at the game and then just wanted to like play. So some wins, some losses, some draws, some scheduling errors that I'm sure Brett will be able to
go into detail about.
Tell us about. Yes, once he joins.
This isn't as smooth as the Ollie and Joe transitions, I have to say.
It really just shows you how influential the Batman not theme, but sound effect really helps. But
yeah, I did enjoy the experience overall. I think the reason I did stop was because of the strict schedule. It almost kind of not nearly to the level of when we played World of Warcraft, the rating schedule we were on. That was literally a part-time job that we didn't get. We paid for. We paid for that part-time job. But we got rewarded with purples. So, but yeah, I just think I didn't want to really have to be there at certain times, certain parts of the day for the game, but I loved actually playing in the games. And it kind of also...
Hello?
Oh!
Hey!
He's here!
I don't know why I was just having problems just now. Sorry for that.
That's okay. We're glad you finally got to make it. So I think we actually talked you out without you being here. So thanks for joining the show. We'll see you next time.
I don't know what even that means.
We talked all the bullet points out that we were gonna ask you about.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, see you guys next time.
Yeah.
See you later.
So, how are you doing, man? How has the Join Dota League been treating you? Fill everybody in on how you guys finished the season for your division. How has the experience been for you?
It's been pretty good. This is our second season doing it, so We started in the starter division last year, got placed in Division 5, which is the lowest. Well, obviously, you can move up from the starter to Division 4 or to Division 5. Pretty much half the teams stay in the starter, half the teams move up. So we got placed in Division 5, and honestly, the competition has been less intense than we faced in the starter division. We went, I think, 16-2, which is good enough for first place. So
I would think so. Jeez.
Yeah. From here, we can move up 2 divisions. We do have a playoff game coming up. It hasn't been scheduled yet, but that'll determine if we go to Division 3 or to Division 4. So, yeah, it's been treating us good. I think the team is gelling pretty good, but like I said, I don't think we've faced really stiff competition. So the real test is going to be how the team holds together once we start actually losing some matches consistently, because the guys on the team and you played with them, and just some background from our team is we got some really strong personalities on our team. And they're really good players. In fact, out of the players we have, I'm probably the lowest skill wise on the team.
And that's saying something.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm 4K MMR for your viewers. But yeah, I'm the captain, so I'm kind of the one that manages these guys, and I know their skill wise are better than me, so I think my job mainly has been to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are and put them in positions to do well. And I think so far I've been able to do that, but like I said, we'll see how it goes once we start facing tougher competition.
Yeah, what kind of challenges have you guys faced? Because I know there's a lot, especially for some of the lower divisions or tiers, like with scheduling, because some teams just never show up to play any of their games, or you have to sort of work around teams. I remember there was one series that I helped you guys out with where it was that they wanted to postpone it to another day, and then postpone it another 2 hours, and then postpone it another half hour. How has that been, trying to get that scheduled and work people around that?
Yeah, honestly, that's been the biggest challenge of this league so far, is the scheduling. It's really hard to get just our own team together for 2 hours. I mean, it's a 2-hour commitment when you have a match, which is hard for anybody, especially when it's during a weekday or something like that. And the thing is that these dates for the league aren't set in stone, so both teams are kind of every week have to kind of hash out who can do when. And our team, I feel like we don't mind using stand-ins. We have 3 guys that consistently show up, and then our last 2 are kind of flexible usually. We have 2 guys that are kind of our usual guys, but we have used some stand-ins. And yeah, you're right. A lot of the times the other team will want to postpone or push it back, and I think Join Dota has some really good rules as far as scheduling games, and they make it very clear when you're allowed to postpone or which times basically are going to be the set time after both teams decide. Both teams are allowed to suggest a time 48 hours before the match starts, and if one team doesn't, then basically the team that does put a time, that time becomes the official time, and they can enforce it if they want to. We've been kind of flexible with other teams that have kind of been late or whatever.
But you guys just wanted to play.
Yeah, we'd rather actually get the games in and get the experience than just take the forfeit wins. And some teams are really more all about winning. But yeah, we'd rather play the games out. I think a lot of teams would rather play the games out than just take forfeit wins.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, why are you joining a league if you're not interested in playing? Like, I saw a couple teams. If you said, for example, one of them was like 2-14 because they forfeited a lot of matches or something.
Yeah, some teams I think get out to a bad start and then just kind of give up on it. some of the teams disband halfway through this season. Stuff like that happens. And we've seen that in both of the divisions we've been in. One team in each division has just quit halfway through and disbanded. Which, I mean, it's kind of hard to keep a team together, especially if you're losing a bunch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I'm kind of worried about us. I mean, I'm excited to move up, especially if we can get into Division 3. Because, that's only 2 divisions away from the money pot, 2 divisions away from, like, the tier 3
teams you'll start recognizing.
Teams, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, you got like Sneaky Nick's Assassins and stuff like that. Some of the top pub stars and stuff are up there too.
I have to say, I think it's really cool that you get to like captain. I know that you guys collaborate a lot on the draft, but I just TI4 memory of we'll just be sitting there up in our God King suite, and we're watching the drafts. And you're doing like just a really good job of just like picking out or predicting the drafts and like what kind of heroes would be showing up and stuff like that. And how have you enjoyed drafting at that level? I mean, is it hard finding, because I think once you get to like the higher tiers, right, for the most part you have people that'll play one position, where I feel like the lower levels you'll find people that are good at particular heroes and then their positions shift. How has that been for you guys?
Well, it's been a learning experience for me. I really never had any drafting experience before we started doing Join Dota League. I always felt like I kind of had a good idea of how certain heroes synergize together. And, I'm a support player, so I feel like picking a good support has a lot to do with finding out, how the team's going to mesh together. You want to figure out if you can do an aggressive support or defensive or greedy or whatever. But, so yeah, I feel like every time I do a draft, I learn something new. But then again, with this patch, I kind of pretty much pick the same heroes every time now. I feel like we've gotten into a groove where we know which heroes we're really comfortable with, which heroes we can win with, so I think that's part of the learning experience. But yeah, before this, we would always play, all pick together or whatever. And I don't think you can really learn what's going to work for your team unless you really start playing together a lot and playing captain's mode together. Because then you really figure out what works for your team specifically. And I think we've done that. And if you want me to tell you, it's the death ball right now is what's working for us. We pretty much don't want to. There's a couple heroes we don't want to play against. That's pretty much.
And they would be
Faceless Void and Lycan get banned every game.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, I mean, I don't even think Lycan gets picked up in our level if we don't ban him. But he's just one of those heroes that if he does get picked up, it's just such a pain to deal with. Definitely think a nerf is coming for him. And Faceless Void, too, is just... It's not that you can't deal with them, it's just that it's a pain, and we'd rather not have to. So,
of course.
I feel like that's like the great part about just the way the game is right now. I feel like most heroes are like that, where you don't feel that there are so many heroes that are just completely unbalanced that you just... It's more that some heroes are just really annoying in what they do, and you just think that you're either not going to be able to play against that, or that you're going to have a harder time playing against that. And I was actually curious to think. I mean, unfortunately, the season's winding down now as we are, approaching a new patch coming out. But I was curious, one, how... I mean, if you're banning out Faceless Void, I guess your drafts are a bit meta-influenced as opposed to just being more style-influenced? Or
sure.
Identity influenced?
Well, one of our players is our best. I would say he's probably our best. Is really good on Tinker. He's really good on Meepo. He's really good on heroes that have high impact late game, or like late middle game. So I try to pick him basically playmaker heroes. So I do kind of base my draft around, what heroes our team's comfortable playing. And I think even though some of the heroes, I mean, those are the heroes he likes to play the most, but He's also really good on Death Prophet, even though, Death Prophet's such a boring hero to play. So I pretty much first pick Death Prophet if it's available. I just try to pick heroes that have a high impact in the mid and late game. And then I'll try and base the rest of my draft around that. I think if you get Death Prophet on your team, I think Shadow Shaman's an obvious second pick. Their ultis pretty much come off cooldown at the same time. They're both strong pushers that, don't get easily countered by the typical counter pushers. You can blow up a creep wave, but you can't blow up serpent wards. Same with Death Prophet's ulti. The only way to get rid of that is to kill Death Prophet. Burst damage is the only thing that Death Prophet's really afraid of. So I feel like if you can get those two in the first round of drafting, then your team's off to a great start. But that's just what my team's comfortable with, and I think that's pretty good in the meta right now. And we've been practicing that a lot, so that's pretty much our go-tos. But if Death Prophet gets banned out, we're also pretty comfortable in the Razor right now. I think a lot of people are running that, and if they wanna ban Death Prophet and let us get Razor, then we're pretty comfortable letting them have a hero like Faceless Void, because I think Razor's a pretty good counter to that. And if you want to pick Faceless Void into a Razor, I think there's better options there.
Yeah. So I guess part two of my question: are you excited for the prospect of a new patch, in that no one's going to know what to do? And you then get the opportunity to just decide whatever you think is good or would work well for you guys, and create an identity before a meta is created.
Well,
or is that like a lot of...
I'm really excited about it, but I'm also really nervous about it because, like I said, our team is filled with strong personalities that have very strong ideas about what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I think, too.
So if I start picking some drafts that aren't working, we'll see what happens. I think so far it's been really unusual how well we've been gelling together. I think we went into the Join Dota League with kind of an agreement that this was going to be competitive and we're going to try and win as much as we can. But we're also going to focus on working together, focus on working on our own games and not beating each other up or taking things personally. But at the same time, if you make a mistake and your teammate points out that mistake, you got to realize that they're doing it not to flame you, but to make you better. And I think we all understand that about each other, and I think that's the only mindset you can have if you're going to be successful in something competitive like this.
Yeah. I remember...
Because a lot of times in pubs, people flame other players, and that makes them play worse. I feel like if you're in a pub, don't flame your teammates, because it's only going to hurt you. But if you're with a team that you know and you play together a lot, don't flame each other, but you have to be comfortable taking criticism, and you can't take it personally. You have to discuss decisions that are made. First of all, you need to trust each other. If I tell the team it's time to push tier 2, they're going to follow me, and if it doesn't work out, that's on me, and I'm going to watch the replay or whatever, and fix that in the future. But I can't take it personally if they say, that was the wrong decision, because obviously it was, something like that.
Yeah, so what do you guys have, any like flavor picks, anything fun, anything off the cuff? Because, and kind of just, I asked you to take a look at the EG versus Cloud9 games quickly, just because I thought some of the, you didn't have to watch them super close. It's okay if you didn't take notes. But I just thought it was really cool that you saw in a lot of those games in the first best of 3, you saw Warlock and Enigma on opposite sides of the board in every game. Which, when's the last time you've seen a Warlock? Not only that, one that doesn't prioritize Fatal Bonds, it actually prioritizes Upheaval. Almost like it had been happening this whole time. Picking up that hero. Sven versus Razor and profit,
Yeah.
I believe. So another really interesting thing where you go, okay, mobility, so that we can try to engage or get out. The high armor from Warcry, really stuff that I think once you see it, you're like, oh my god, why haven't people been doing this all the time? I mean, do you have any heroes that have sort of like stood out to you as heroes that don't get picked a lot, but you guys enjoy running to fight the meta?
Well, before I comment on that, I did watch some of those games, and I checked DOTA. Sven actually, right now, sits at the very top of the win rate. He's like 25-10 or something. He's really good
Really?
win percentage. Yeah, he's on top, which I did not expect at all. But yeah, I looked at his recent buffs. He got 3 armor in 6.80. That's a pretty good buff.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're right. I think mobility heroes are really important right now. You can't really deal with a Razor Death Prophet without mobility, which I'm surprised Centaur Warrunner doesn't get picked up more. I checked his win rate too. It's actually really low. It's like 40%. So yeah, kind of weird. But yeah, for my team, like I said, if we can get away with running a Meepo, we'll do it. I think we've run a couple Meepo lineups that have just rolled over the enemy team. And we'll usually save that for the second game. They're all best of 2s. So we'll usually save the Meepo for the second game, especially if we felt like the first game was kind of close and we need to whip out, something that's going to change it up.
And he's not getting banned. Have you seen him banned against you guys before you even pick him?
Actually, yeah. Our player Bonk used to have his Join Dota or his Dota buff public. So people would check out all our hero picks, and he's played Meepo like 500 times or something. So a couple teams banned him against us, but yeah, he's only been banned once since Bonk put his profile to private, and that was because we ran him in game 1
right.
2 weeks ago or something, and we dominated with him. So he's such a fun hero to play with, and he's such a fun hero to be on his team because he can be off farming wherever and he can jump into the team fight like on a dime. So you don't really have to worry about, well, is my team going to back me up if I go in here? Because yeah, he can just blink in and then all of a sudden poof, you got 5 Meepos.
Quite literally poof.
Quite literally poop. So yeah, I love having a Meepo on my team.
You're welcome, by the way, for helping set up the Meepo dominance. Since we had Bonk on the show to talk about Invoker to try to throw off all of your competition in the future, and then allow you just how many Invoker bans have you seen? That's the real question. Maybe we'll answer it later.
Or never.
I haven't seen any Invoker.
Yeah, exactly. Shh. Let him have this.
Yeah.
But that's awesome that you guys are doing so well. Do you think going into the next division you'll change your strategies or your preparation?
I think there's going to be a lot more watching replays. That's like the best way to improve your game is to watch a replay, especially in a game that you lost. But like I said, I feel like we haven't really reached the level of competition that we should be at yet. So watching the replays at this level isn't quite as important. Especially, the last couple games, we've had a couple that we've won in like 15 minutes. So there's not really much use to watching those replays. But once we get to that next level, I have a feeling that we're going to be watching a lot more replays and critiquing more the decisions we've been making and things like that. So on the one hand, it's really exciting to get there. And I think we are going to hit a much different level of competition in Division 3. But on the other hand, yeah, I am nervous about the team and if they're going to start getting on each other's backs or not.
Mm-hmm.
Our team name, by the way, Be More Zen, I named us that because we are a bunch of hotheads, and I felt like having Zen in the name would like remind everybody to like be a little bit chill when we get into these matches. So that's the whole mantra right now for our team.
I was gonna say that's your mission statement, not the team name, right? Like everyone, be more zen this game. All right, be more zen. It has nothing to do with Baltimore. Come on, tell me it's a double entendre.
No, it's double meaning.
Thank you.
The be more is definitely for Baltimore, but
Okay.
yeah,
Jeez, you gotta
the
rep
other
some
meaning
city pride.
definitely.
I know, which like all of our European and other viewers are like, Baltimore.
What is Baltimore?
What
No
the
one
hell
cares.
is that supposed to be?
Star Spangled Banner got written here.
Yeah, important.
War of 1812.
I have that song on my iPod. I mean, yeah, totally.
Totally.
Well, yeah, that's really exciting, man. And I do miss playing with you guys sometime. Just
That's the other thing about the league. Since I joined, I've played. Well, I looked at my Dota buff recently, and I checked my stats for all pick and captain's mode, and my all pick win percentage is at 45% right now for this past month, which is terrible. It's just really bad. Out of like I think maybe 60 games or something, whatever. My captain's mode win percentage is at 70%. So, I mean, since I started playing in the league, I feel like I can't go back to all pick unless it's, party matchmaking, whatever, and we're just doing it for fun.
yeah.
But I feel like when you play captain's mode, you run into a lot less players that just want to play a certain hero that doesn't work. You don't wind up with these lineups that can't work. So even if you lose, I think the games are a lot more competitive. And I think it's a lot more fun to play that way. So I'm pretty much done with all pick now. And also I think I play less in general. I just play when we have a match or something like that. I don't play, just for fun as much.
You already sound like a pro. Only show up for matches. Don't feel like playing other times.
I think your mindset kind of changes when you start taking it more competitively and more seriously. I feel like now when I play all pick, I want to win really bad, and if I look at my team and I can tell the lineup's not going to work, it's just kind of frustrating, and you just kind of don't want to play out the game. I mean, I always play it out, but it's just really tough when you start with a big disadvantage.
Yeah, some people say a game can be won or lost right at the draft. So.
Oh, definitely. That's absolutely true. So yeah, I'm much less into all pick these days.
So we can only assume that you will start picking Techies immediately upon his release in a captain's mode. Will he be your first pick or your second pick? Those are the options.
I have played against Techies twice now, and I actually lost both games. That little guy is so annoying.
Emba.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, my all pick rating is terrible, so I blame the team. Feeders.
It's so much easier to do that, totally.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Well, you have to know, though, Bonk loves Techies.
Yeah.
So...
No, I have a feeling that he could probably make a big impact with that hero. I mean, I think it just seems like such a boring hero to play, but I don't know.
Oh, I've already one of my rants about not liking him, so you're not alone in that category.
Yeah, I don't like playing against him. I don't think I would like playing with him. I haven't played with him yet.
Pick Rubik, it works.
Yeah, I believe it. Rubik. Or get like Dazzle and Barbed Armor. And
there it is.
Shallow Grave. Walk over some mines. That would be fun.
Seems pretty specific to do, but I guess whatever works for you.
I feel like there's a couple cheesy counters to him.
You gotta go
that
cheese.
Would be interesting.
I mean, you're only playing best of twos. Who cares? Just make it work.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming out in captain's mode anytime soon.
Well, we'll see. My prediction was like 3 weeks. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think more like 3 years.
That's your dream.
He's in
That's
Dota 1
different.
captain's mode.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I feel like some
Now
tournaments.
Brett's really sad.
I almost feel like some tournaments might ban him or something. I wouldn't even be surprised. We don't know much about Dota 1 these days. but he definitely has been played in tournaments in Dota 1 before. So,
Hey, that attack range, man.
best in the game. Can't take before Sniper gets leveled up. But yeah, I can't touch that. Right, that 30 auto attack damage or whatever the hell it is. Not even.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to any heroes entering Captain's Mode that you think might be fun for you guys to run? I think Bonk has messed around on Legion Commander a little bit. Is there anybody in particular that you're looking for that?
I think Legion Commander is the one that stands out for us. I think her ult is really good. And I think that we can make that hero work in some of our lineups really well. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited for Legion Commander to come to Captain's Mode. Who else is there? Terrorblade and Phoenix. I really could care less about those heroes. We don't really have anyone that plays Phoenix. I think Terrorblade after the nerf is not that good. So, yeah, we'll see.
All right.
But yeah, Legion Commander, she'll be good. We'll probably pick her up a couple times.
And I guess this might be my my last one in the barrage of questions. But are you guys joining any other leagues? Do you have any in your sights you guys might start joining to see if you can keep the competitive streak alive while JDL is in the off season?
It really depends on how much time we have because it is a big time commitment. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple little tournaments pop up on Reddit that I've thought about joining. I'll have to gauge the interest of the rest of the team. But yeah, I could see us doing a couple tournaments, like little ones, but I can't see us doing any other leagues, at least not right now. Maybe in the future, who knows?
Once you win TI5 and have the prize pool that you can just support playing in the leagues, then
yeah, sure.
Probably.
Yeah, and I really hope that you guys can cast some of our games sometime. That would be really cool. We'll have to talk to the admins for we got this playoff game coming up that's really important.
We were actually super stoked about this Wednesday because we were going to do Dota Theater 3000. Brett goes, "Hey, you want to cast some of our games?" I was like,
"Yeah." Well, you know, the other team wasn't comfortable with it, and I don't blame them. The delay is only 2 minutes, which in a league match is, you know, they don't know you guys, and I don't know. It's fine that they didn't trust you, but I really feel like there should be an option for like a 6-minute delay or something like that. That way, you know, there's no way that it's going to have an impact on the game. But
yeah, because I remember you saying that like if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't really feel comfortable with it either. If the other team was like, "Hey, we have some guys who are gonna cast the game. Do you mind?" You'd be like,
Yeah, you know, we take these games a little bit more seriously than we would take just a ranked matchmaking game. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. On the other hand, we beat them 2-0 in 20 minutes each, so it wouldn't have been that interesting to cast anyway.
Hey man,
we would have made it interesting. Yeah, there it is.
I know, they were fun games. Hey, the most fun game we had was a couple weeks ago. We had Sir Action Slack stand in for us. Oh my gosh, that was the most hilarious set of games. We picked him like Vengeful Spirit, and he was like just swapping people every team fight just because. Like, I don't think he's ever played Vengeful Spirit before. I should have just picked him his Omni Knight. But
yes, there you go.
It was like midnight, and we were all like laughing loud as we could. My roommate's like sleeping in the next room over. I don't think I woke her up, but yeah, that was the best game we've had so far.
Very nice.
Sounds like you should permanently add him to the roster.
Hey, I would like. He said he was interested in playing again with us, so we'll see. That would be.
Please
fun.
let us cast that game.
Oh my god!
You've got to get us in on that. Come on.
And please first pick Omni Knight.
Yep.
No, Omni Knight got banned.
Oh, rude.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we expected it, but
it's where your star power has a penalty to it, you know. Ugh.
Hey, if they're gonna ban Omni Knight,
you know that's not such a bad thing, is it?
you know what? We got like Death Prophet, Razor, Shadow Shaman, I think Doom. Our team was ridiculous.
I guess the Omni ban's all right then.
Yeah, you can ban Omni if you want. Like, boo-hoo. Oh no, we can't have Omni Night.
I mean, because they would have just picked Beastmaster and then bought the Fusel Blade like in every other normal game.
Man. That game was. I didn't think either of those teams had a good draft. I mean, Shadow Shaman was still on the board, and I think he would have been a much better pick than Warlock. I mean, I understand why they picked Warlock, but it's really kind of a niche. Like, they wanted to counter the black hole. Well, I feel like there's other ways to do that. They didn't need to draft Warlock.
Yes, if you'd like to watch the weirdest game of professional Dota you might ever see, it was EG versus Cloud9, Game 2 of their first best of 3, where there was one support hero in the entirety of the game. It was a Warlock. PPD bit the bullet on that one and went 0-8-2.
He had 100 net worth like 20 minutes into the game.
He ended the game with brown boots. That's what's important.
He had two branches, and he had 2 sets of wards like 20 minutes in. It was terrible. But yeah, he was the only support. They could have picked Rubik. They could have picked Shadow. There was tons of... I mean, Skyrath made it through the first round, I think.
I feel like I didn't... The only thing that I really minded about it was the rest of their lineup was so greedy, and I really like Warlock being like your 4. Like, if you're able to try to get up the Aghanims or try to get up the Refresher, so you have more of an impact later on. I mean, and he was just... He had to buy everything. There was nobody else to help him, or nobody chose to.
I think their Nature's Prophet went Naked Mac or something. But other than, yeah, you're right. Their Doom went for Midas, which, I mean, they had a Tinker, Nature's Prophet, Doom, and you're going to go Midas. I think that's really greedy. And the other team...
The whole lineup was pretty greedy, to be honest. I think they just won ham.
I feel like when you pick...
looking at it.
You can't pick a Sven in the first round. You need to pick heroes that are either so good that the other team can't deal with them, or that can fill a number of different roles. And I feel like picking a core like Sven in the first round really limits what you can do with your draft. And that's why they ended up with such a greedy, bad draft.
I have to say that I do really like the way that EG are able to play heroes like Sven, like the Naga Siren, where they're able to actually cycle them through. I mean, like Fear playing on Shadow Shaman in one game in the series. They played Sven as support. They played him as core. He was in a dual lane, I want to say, if not this game, then the first one. So I do appreciate that they do try to move these heroes around a lot in different positions and played by different people to try to keep other teams, I guess, off kilter. But yeah, I feel like too, if you I sort of like what the lineup would in theory be able to do with the team fight and the potential to push between like Warcry and the Nature's Prophet trees. I even kind of like having Sven and Doom. It kind of sucks having 2 melee cores, but trying to make up for that armor difference, and especially against Death Prophet, I really liked that, what they were able to try to accomplish that. But unfortunately, man, yeah, I don't know. That seems super greedy to go for the Midas on top, like you said. Especially eventually because he picks up Vlads at some point, so why wouldn't you just go for an early game?
Yeah, well, they needed the early game. That's probably why you went Vlads. But at that point, it was too late. So, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I feel like I've been learning with drafting is I feel like I learn a lot when I lose a game because I can figure out exactly what I did wrong in the draft. I feel like when you're just playing and not drafting, you can blame the draft easily, say, yeah, we had a bad draft. But when you're actually the one doing it, I feel like it really makes you stop and think really critically about what you did, because you're the only one that knows what your strategy is, why you're picking these heroes. I mean, you can give your teammates an idea of what you're doing, but I feel like when you're drafting, you really have kind of an idea of how everything's going to work together. So when it doesn't work together, I think it's a lot easier to pick out exactly what went wrong compared to just playing it out as someone that gets drafted for and saying, yeah, our draft wasn't good, but you don't know exactly why and exactly what went wrong in the drafter's head. So I think it's really adds a whole nother component to the game, being able to draft for my team. So I think that's been really fun.
Very nice. Well, I don't know if you have any other closing thoughts, Jay.
When are you recruiting me for the team again?
To play for 2 weeks. And
We recruited you for the team.
What are you
in
re-recruiting
season
me?
1? You were on the roster.
I just want to be on the roster when you guys start getting the prize pools. Let me know when you're in
okay.
Division 1 or whatever. Yeah, sign
Sure.
me up then. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I
actually checked. The American League is kind of like a season behind the European League because they have more teams. So if I want to see like where our team's going to go from here, I kind of go over there to see where their teams went last season.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do win our playoff match and go to Division 3, it looks like the best we'll be able to do next year is to go up to Division 2. It's really hard to go from. I think only the top teams in Division 2 go to Division 1. I think only 2 teams move up out of the 2 divisions. So only the top team in each division. So yeah, it'll be a little while before we're in the money. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, don't worry. We'll give you $50 sponsorship, and then you can be further known as Dota on Demand.
Yeah,
and it'll be great. It'll be a wonderful partnership. But
sounds great.
Dota on Demand Hawks. The Sunday Hawks.
No, we can't change our name from Be More Zen, dude. It's important.
The rage will get out of control.
The rage will just spiral out of control. You don't understand. Maybe you do. Probably do.
Yeah. Well,
my main job as captain is to keep the rage in check.
How about Zen on Demand? Does that work?
What?
Zen on Demand? That could
Zen
be your
on
team
Demand.
name.
There you go.
Close enough.
Zod.
Close enough.
Perfect.
Zod. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for dropping by, Genobeam.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
I know you probably don't have any places that we can send people to learn more about you, or add him on Steam and then play with him in all pick, and then it'll be great because he does that all the time now.
I'll never be online for all pick. No, I like to play party match. I don't care about my party MMR, so I'll play party all pick or whatever, ranked, whatever my friends want to do. But yeah, if I'm solo queuing, I'm doing captain's mode.
Nice. Well, thank you for dropping by, man. Really appreciate you telling us about some of your league experience, and you guys can go ahead and send Genobeam some love. You can drop it on the Facebook.com/Dota on Demand, and we'll make sure that he gets the message via courier pigeon. And yeah, so everybody go out there, play some Dota, watch some Dota, and we'll see you next time.